So here we go. You guys ready? All about taxes. This is the most exciting lesson that you'll have all year. Actually, when we come back from break, it'll be the most exciting lesson that you have all year, because I'm going to teach you about compound interest, otherwise called How Rich People Stay Rich. So there's some personal income facts that you need to know about that are true for the US of A. One, the US tax code contains more than 3.7 million words and is more than 70,000 pages in length. You will never know all of it, right? Americans spend 7.6 billion hours every year preparing taxes, an average of about 25 hours per person. Now, I don't spend that much time. I do it on the computer. It's done in like 20 minutes. In addition, U.S. taxpayers spend over $27 billion every year on tax preparation services. This is why you should learn how to do your own taxes. Because why pay somebody else $200 to $500, depending on what type of taxes you need to do, to have somebody else do what you can do for absolutely free, right? But people get intimidated by taxes, so they pay people, but they're not, I mean, for the most part, those of us with just a W-2 and not a ton of itemized stuff can do their own taxes, and you can do them for absolutely free. The IRS has a budget of over $11 million and employs about 80,000 people. They are all there to take your money. They want your money, right? And you want to keep as much of your own money as humanly possible. Word tax just means I estimate in Latin. I don't know why we use it for this, right? We estimate that this is how much you owe us, but you need to know exactly how much you owe. Einstein once said the hardest thing in the world to understand is income tax. And if you think about that in terms of 70,000 pages, it makes sense, right? How are we supposed to, the average person is supposed to understand it? And I think they almost purposely make it complicated. How might these facts affect people's understanding of personal income tax and their willingness to pay? Nobody wants to pay taxes. Everybody wants to keep their money, but we all have to pay taxes. Well, most of us, because that's how we keep our infrastructures going. And then everyone will get mad about paying taxes because of the things that we wish they weren't paying for that they are. But tax dollars pay for everything. They pay my salary. They pay for roads. They pay for all the city's infrastructures, and so forth, right? I never know when I'm supposed to read the thing for the slide. It says many students today have part-time or summer jobs. Remind them that they probably received a W-2. Have any of you guys ever gotten a W-2? Have any of you had employment where you've had to pay taxes? I know Jameson's working these days, so you might not have gotten one yet, but this year, at the end of this year, you'll get a W-2 explaining every bit of money you made and every bit of tax that you paid, right? And that's all a W-2 is saying what your employer took out and paid to, like FICA or federal tax or insurance or whatever, right? Employees or any other various type of income are required to submit the 1040 form to the IRS before April 15th every year. This year, I think it's been bumped to May 15th because of COVID, but tax day is April 15th. That means all of your taxes are supposed to be submitted to the IRS by April 15th. And we do so on this 1040 income tax return. There's an easy form and there's the just regular 1040 US individual, but most people do this. They're all pretty easy now because there are sites that allow you to just fill in the blanks for free. I recommend Credit Karma is really good because it's totally free and they don't try and upsell you like some of the others. So what's the criteria for those who don't have to file a 1040 form? This table shows you who does have to. So if you're single and you're under 65, you have to file if your income was at least $12,000. So if you made less than $12,000, you're not required to file a form. Sometimes it is in your best interest to do so because more often than not, they don't require you to do it if you are getting money back, right? So if you make less than $12,000, even if you're not required to file a tax form, file it because it just means that you probably get a rebate, right? Probably get a refund. These are the five different categories established by the IRS, and the gross income limitations that exempt individuals of various ages from filing a tax return. Anyone who earns more than the gross for their age and filing status are required to file one. So if you make $12,000, you are legally required to file, but if you make less, you are not legally required to file. But they have been taking withholding from you this entire time you were making that $12,000, so you would probably get that money back. Does that make some sense? I hope so. Yeah, definitely file if you're going to get money back, right? So personal income tax is what we're going to now. This slide shows some of the basic information about personal income tax. I don't know if you've ever looked at a pay stub, but it shows how much money is deducted from your gross income. Your gross income is that total amount that you get before they take anything out, right? The net income is what you actually take home. Your pay stub's probably going to show several types of deductions like federal income tax, state and local taxes, Social Security, Medicare. If you have health insurance, anything that's paid to that. And they're important and treated differently by the IRS. So when it comes to calculating your total tax liability for the year, this is all really good information to have. So yeah, they're not just withholding your taxes, right? I pay to my retirement fund every year. I don't even have a choice, but they pull it right out of my check. Not that I'm mad about that because I would never put it away myself. I pay for insurance. I pay for life insurance because I have young kids. I pay for dental, right? All this stuff comes out of my check every month, right? And they keep track of that. Some of it you'll have to pay taxes on, some of it you won't. But what they pull from you tax-wise at the end of the year, either you've paid enough, you haven't paid enough, or you've paid too much based on your income and your age and your status in life. And so that's where these refunds come from. They're not giving you money that you haven't already earned. They're giving you back money that they have taken and was more than you needed to pay. That's the same slide. Sorry, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. So You are required to get your W-2 on or before January 31st of each year, right? The W-2 forms include income tax and tax information you needed about the past year, the preceding calendar year. You might get other forms like 1095s if you're in school, or if you earn income outside of your regular income. But for the most part, most of us deal with just the W-2. And from here on out, all we're going to be talking about are the forms you need to deal with for calculating taxes. Information on the W-2 is used to complete IRS Forms 1040, right? That is the form that I was talking about earlier that most of us will be filling out. And it will indicate potential refunds. Refunds are because you overpaid, or additional money owed because you underpaid during the tax year based on what you made and how much you had withheld. 1040 must be submitted to the appropriate IRS office on or before April 15th of each year. It is also if you owe money that is due. We're not going to go into W-2 information. This is just a link that can be used to get to H&R Block, but on how to read a W-2, but you don't really need that right now. We're going to look at this. This is a sample. Oops. This is a sample W-2 form, right? What's going to happen is there's a book that goes with the 1040 form, and then it's going to tell you where to put the information from each box, right? I highly recommend one of the free online sites, including the IRS's online site, because then you don't have to go through the book. It tells you exactly what to do as you're going along, right? But it'll tell you, well, this much was withheld from federal, this much was withheld from Social Security, state income tax and wages. So state and federal get filed separately, but you can do them all in the same tax site more often than not. And it's really a fill in the blank. Pay attention when you're doing your taxes. It'll just say, take the information from box number so-and-so and put it here. Taxable wages, box 1, do not include deductions exempt from federal income tax, such as employer-sponsored retirement contributions, health insurance payments. So if you're paying for your health insurance, that can be a separate deduction. Flexible spending account contributions, and so forth. 3 and 5 are Social Security and Medicare, and can include some deductions specified by the IRS, such as flexible spending account contributions, health insurance payments, blah, blah, blah. I get this is all boring, but it's really good information to have, because most of the time you look at your taxes for the first time and you'll be like, what do I do? But all the boxes are right there. Box 1, wages and tips. Box 2, it's going to tell you which boxes to find the information, and it's all going to be found on this W-2. This is the 1040. My plan for this was going to be to have you guys fill out a 1040 where I gave you different life scenarios and you'd have to fill out the taxes. But the stuff that I had was all based on a couple years before, and it was fairly obsolete at this point. But this will still give you a really good idea of the things that you need to have on your 1040, right? You're not necessarily always going to have dependents, but if you have dependents, you have to fill this out. 1, it gets you to keep more of your money, right? Filing status. Look into the different filing statuses. There's a book that comes with the 1040. See what your filing status should be. Because it's going to change how much of your money you get back, right? Like single, just you, that's where they're gonna take the most. Now, if you make less money, your withholding won't matter so much. But you need to have those pieces of information. You need your Social Security number. If you're married, you need your spouse's name and Social Security number. But really, there's a good indicator. Now, this is just the sample front page, right? This doesn't have any of the stuff. This is just the information about you page, right? And the people involved. There are other pages that follow, which are the fill in the blanks and tell you the amounts, and they'll tell you use the information from box this on your W-2. It is one thing that is required of us as citizens, whether we like it or not, is that we all have to pay federal income tax. All of us, right? Sometimes we get it back, but we all do have to pay it throughout the year. So in conclusion, federal income taxes are deducted from most employees' gross income each paycheck. Employers are required to provide employees with a W-2 showing information on income taxes and deductions needed to complete their tax returns. Taxpayers may choose to use standard deductions or itemized deductions, whichever provides the largest reduction in taxable income, right? Whichever gets you more money is the one that you're allowed to use. The deadline for filing is always April 15th, unless you get an extension, but you have to apply for an extension before April 15th. Otherwise, there will be penalties in going after April 15th. Tax forms and instructions for completing them are available from various tax software packages and from the Internal Revenue Service website. Look at ones that are really free. Places like TurboTax will try and upsell you, and it's really hard to use their free services. They make it very difficult because they want to make money off of you. But there are other places that are absolutely free and don't try and upsell you, like Credit Karma and IRS itself. But if you go to the IRS itself, they don't do your state taxes. So I like places that are free but do both. You can also pay somebody to do it for you. If you have a simple W-2 form, a lot of times you can get it done for like $150, $200. But if that's all the money you'd be getting back, do you necessarily want to be paying that to somebody else? So keep that in mind when you're making these decisions. You're not doing a group activity, so we could skip right through this. This is that individual activity that I told you to do. It is just write 4 things to remember when filing federal income tax. That is the only thing I am requiring for you to do. You can send this to me in an email listing 4 things that you need to remember when filing federal income tax. That is your only assignment. If you get it done today, you have no work to do over spring break. So I really do hope that you get it done today. Take a picture of this if you need to. And send it to me before the end of the day so that you can get it done and be done with math for the entire spring break. That is it for this. I'm going to stop the